So, what if I told you there's a job in tech that's part software engineer, part firefighter, and yeah, maybe even a little bit of a fortune teller? Today, we're jumping into site reliability engineering, or SRE for short. It's the whole discipline that keeps your favorite apps and websites from, well, crashing and burning. We're going to look at where it came from, at Google, no surprise, and how it's totally changing the game for how we build and maintain software. All right, let's dive in. Just picture it for a second. It's Black Friday. You've got that one-of-a-kind gadget sitting in your cart. You finally click buy, and the spinner, the endless, dreaded loading spinner. Your heart just sinks, right? You know that feeling of digital betrayal? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about today. For a huge company, that's not just some annoying glitch. It's a full-blown catastrophe. We're talking millions in lost sales, a brand that suddenly looks shaky, and just a whole army of angry customers. This is the high-stakes world where site reliability engineering was born. But, before we can really get to the solution, we have to understand the problem. And it's a really deep one. It's kind of like a civil war that's been raging inside tech companies for decades. See, on one side, you've got the developers. They're the creators, right? They want to ship cool new features at lightning speed. And on the other side, you have the operations team. They're the guardians of stability, and they know that every single new line of code is a potential time bomb just waiting to go off. It's the classic unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. So back in the early 2000s, Google was pretty much drowning in its own success. The developers were just cranking out code like there was no tomorrow, basically throwing it over the wall, and the poor ops team was left to clean up the mess. It was this never-ending cycle of 3 a.m. alerts, frantic fixes, and the same problems popping up over and over again. They were trying to build a rocket ship with duct tape and good intentions, and it was so clear that something had to change. The old way of doing things was completely broken, and Google realized they couldn't just hire more people to fix things. That wasn't scalable. They had to fundamentally change the entire game. They basically needed to reinvent operations from the ground up. And just like that, SRE was born. The core idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also revolutionary. Just treat operations as a software problem. Instead of running around patching holes all day, you build a system that can heal itself. You literally automate your way out of trouble. This idea, this brainwave, came from a guy named Ben Trainor-Sloss at Google back in 2003. He asked this one simple question that would send shockwaves through the entire industry. What if we just made software engineers solve this? What if we made operations scalable and reliable using code? Suddenly, what seemed impossible became possible. Operations can now scale at the speed of software, not at the speed of hiring more people. Think of it like this, okay? Traditional ops is like having a team of janitors who are just constantly running around mopping up spills. SRE, on the other hand, is about designing a building with leak-proof pipes in the first place. It's the huge difference between being a reactive problem solver and being a proactive system builder. But of course, there was a catch. How do you stop your brilliant SREs from just becoming, well, glorified janitors, endlessly mopping up the same old spills? Google's answer to this was pure genius. They called it the 50% rule, and it is a total game changer. The rule is this: no SRE can spend more than half their time on what they call toil. The boring, repetitive, manual stuff like restarting a server or copying scripts. The other 50% must be spent on actual engineering, on building the tools that will automate that toil completely out of existence. It's a self-correcting system that literally forces constant improvement. So that's the big picture, but how does this actually work, day to day? Let's go ahead and open up the SRE toolkit and see what's inside. In the world of SRE, data is everything. It's king. And it all starts with something called the Service Level Objective, or SLO. This is where you get brutally specific about what the word reliable actually means. No more vague goals. So let's say you're running an e-commerce site. You might set an SLO of 99.9% uptime for your checkout page. Now that sounds like a lot, right? But it's not perfect. It actually means you're allowed to be down for about 43 minutes every month. And that's a good thing, because trust me, chasing 100% uptime is a fool's errand. And that 0.1% of acceptable downtime, that little sliver of imperfection, that's your error budget. It's the direct mathematical result of your SLO. Think of it as your budget for taking risks. It's a license to innovate, to try new things, to push the boundaries of what's possible without getting in trouble. In this era budget, this is the great peacemaker. If you've got plenty of budget left, hey, the developers can ship new features to their heart's content. Go for it. But if that budget starts running low, well, it's a code freeze. All hands on deck to improve stability. No more shouting matches between teams, just a calm, rational, data-driven conversation. But it's not just about the numbers. SRE is also a culture. It's a culture of toil reduction, where doing the same manual task over and over is treated like the enemy. And it's a culture of blameless postmortems, where when something goes wrong, the focus is on learning from the system's mistake, not on pointing fingers at a person. So, you've got the philosophy, you've got the rules, you've got the tools. But what does it all really add up to? Well, it's way more than just a new job title. It's a completely new way of working. I mean, the difference is night and day. In the old world, you'd wait for angry customers to tell you something's broken. In the SRE world, you probably know before they do. In the old world, you'd be restarting servers by hand at 3 a.m. In the SRE world, the system just heals itself. It is a massive shift from being reactive to being proactive. And that right there is the real magic of SRE. It finally ends that civil war between dev and ops. Suddenly, they're speaking the same language, the language of SLOs and error budgets. They're chasing the same goals. They are a united front, working together to build amazing things that, actually work. When you really strip it all down, SRE is about a fundamental shift in mindset. It's about asking a completely different and, frankly, a much, much better question. The old question was so simple. Is it on? Is it running? It's a binary yes or no question that tells you absolutely nothing about the user's experience, nothing about the real health of the system. SRE just takes that old question, throws it right out the window, and asks something much more profound, much more powerful. And really, that's the bottom line. How do we prove it's reliable? SRE takes reliability out of the realm of wishful thinking and puts it into the cold, hard world of science and engineering. It's not about just hoping for the best anymore. It's about engineering for the worst. And in a world that completely runs on software, that's not just a good idea, it's a survival strategy.